In this video, we will cover 7 different revenue models which you can use for yourself to monetize your business idea or mobile application or website service, and which one of these will do the trick for you, especially in this age of artificial intelligence where things are moving so fast. You need to bring your A game. Number 6 is especially important to understand if you're looking for investment, as investors do want to see that for your tech startup. Who am I? I am Dr. Umar Khan, yes, a physician, but a 2 times founder, and also I have helped numerous startups and tech businesses develop and scale their platforms. If you need some help, let me know. So number 1, we are going to start off with freemium. The freemium offering. This is one of the easiest ways to get users to sign up or download your application. You basically give it for free. Many functions and features are free, but a premium is charged for advanced features and functions or for a more heavier use of the platform. For example, is MailChimp, an email automation software tool for marketers. It's a freemium model because you can use MailChimp for free if you have up to 2,000 subscribers. This means if you have fewer than 2,000 subscribers, you can send your emails and automate your email campaigns for free. But if you have more than 2,000 subscribers, MailChimp charges you more with their higher tier plans. Another example is Dropbox. It offers cloud storage services. Of course, we all know that, and everybody has an account with basic features for free, but charges for additional storage and a bit more advanced features. Then you have Spotify, and this, of course, provides free music or podcast streaming service with ads, while premium features and subscriptions offer ad-free listening and more additional features. But of course, there are always going to be pros and cons. The pros are going to be you will develop a wide user base and you will attract a large number of users if your product is actually good and it has utility. Then you will have a marketing advantage, and this will lead to word of mouth and user referrals that will drive your growth. Then, of course, with all of these users, you will be collecting user data, and this will be valuable, and data is king. And you will, of course, use this to improve your product as well as do targeted and precise marketing. And if this is what Google or Facebook want, you may end up even selling some of your data, and that could be pretty lucrative. Then, of course, everything is not great. The cons are also there. You may have conversion challenges. You need people to convert. Only a small percentage of users will typically upgrade to higher and paid versions. This leads to having an unclear idea, uncertainty in your revenue, right? Dependence on small user bases and small segments for a majority of your revenue can, of course, put a strain on you. And of course, this means that at least initially, you will have to provide a sustained investment into your product before you actually get people to convert on to your product. So your timelines could be extended, and you may need to have a bigger pocket to actually sustain this for the long term. Now, number 2 is the premium model, and this is totally opposite. It's a high-end offering with an upfront high price and usually applied for a prestigious luxury niche or a limited product with limited editions. Now, Ferraris is an example of this model. Not everyone can afford a Ferrari, right? However, the profit margin for a Ferrari is actually high, and it's a premium brand. Whether premium is a best model for a startup, you have to decide. Apple, known for its high-end electronics, including iPhones and MacBooks, of course, which are premium priced because of their brand value and their quality. Then you have Tesla. Tesla offers premium electric vehicles with the latest and the most advanced technology that we have currently. And of course, it has performance features that are beyond its competitors at the moment, but they do charge a price for it. So you have the pros: high profit margins if your product is good enough, and premium prices lead to higher margins per sale. Then you have a brand positioning advantage. So if you establish yourself as a premium brand, this gives you high quality and luxury and possibly scarcity that you can create that people will go for. And you will also be developing a loyal customer base, and these customers come back to your product over and over again. However, as we mentioned a few, I'm going to go over some cons for this model. Of course, you have limited market, narrows the potential customer base. A lot of people may not be able to afford. High expectations going to be next. It requires consistent delivery of superior quality and innovation that people look to expect from you. And if you fall behind, if you lapse, then you may lose that edge. Competition is always there, and you are vulnerable to competitors who can offer similar value at lower prices. And then it goes to show that, hey, you haven't really built a brand for yourself. So looking after your brand name and reputation is going to be fairly important in this scenario. Now, number 3 is price leadership. And this is something which Chinese companies have done masterfully over the last few decades. It means the lowest cost of operation allows you to operate with economies of scale. Economies of scale mean that the more you produce, the lower the cost per production unit. That is only possible if you have the lowest possible cost in the market. If you try to adopt the price leadership model without having the lowest costs, you will probably find yourself lowering prices to attract customers. However, if your competitors have even lower costs, they can undercut your prices, potentially driving you out of the business. Again, for example purposes, I'm going to look at IKEA as a non-tech company, and this is a great example of this model. Xiaomi, Chinese smartphone maker, right? They offer smartphones and other electronics with high-end specifications at lower prices than their competitors, and they have done fairly well. Amazon Web Services, AWS, they provide cloud computing services at competitive prices, and they are leveraging scale and efficiency. You don't have to spend huge amounts of money. You can get started with what you need and want at a cheaper price, and then you can purchase more as you need. Now, the pros for price leadership. Market dominance is one. So competitive pricing can lead to a larger market share, and possibly later on you can charge higher prices when everyone else has folded or they just cannot compete with you any longer. You have the advantage of economies of scale, lower unit costs with increased production, and you can always adjust your production to look at inflation and where that is going. Now, because you have developed economies of scale that you are able to undercut everybody else, it makes it very difficult for new competitors to enter the market. Anyways, that is interesting, but what are the cons? You have lower margins and you will have thinner profits. Then there's going to be a quality perception. Lower prices can lead to people think that you are lower quality. That could happen. And of course, you are vulnerable to cost increases, meaning that you are sensitive to supply chain and operational cost issues. If one piece of the puzzle suddenly got expensive, then that could mess up, that could affect your price that you're looking to set for your product. Then number 4, we have predictive pricing. And this is an unusual revenue model. It involves future priced offerings based on past data on your performance. So for instance, if you are an insurance tech company, an insurance company might cite higher prices for customers with a negative history. More examples of this model include Lemonade Insurance, and they use AI and data analytics to offer personalized insurance rates based on individual risk profiles. Then you actually have Uber, and you may not think about this, but Uber implements surge pricing based on real-time data about demand and supply. And they can do that because they have a huge database. So the pros and the value for this type of model is, one is dynamic pricing. It allows for flexible pricing strategies based on real-time data, so you can get the maximum benefit. So this will lead to a targeted profitability. You can maximize your profits based on your consumer behaviors and how the market is doing. And of course, you can develop a competitive advantage if you have this data, and on the basis of this data, you are able to get your answers. So it provides you with an edge in markets where pricing can rapidly change. Then of course, there are the cons. Complexity. It requires sophisticated data analysis and pricing algorithms. Then you have customer backlash that could develop, a risk of alienating customers who feel unfairly priced. And of course, then there are ethical concerns such as potential for discriminatory pricing practices, and we know that cannot end well. Number 5 is a pay-per-use model, and it is a common model for startups because it's convenient and acceptable for both business owners as well as customers. Now, customers have access to potentially unlimited features, goods, or services, but pay only for what they actually use. Shutterstock, for example, you can browse unlimited number of images and videos, but pay only for the videos or images that you want, unless you have a subscription for them or a package, but you can still browse them and pay, hey, I only need these 2 images, I only need these 2 videos. You can do that with Shutterstock. OpenAI also has a pay-per-use model where developers buy credit grants and they can connect and use OpenAI APIs in their own programs. And you can buy more credit to use as you need. Google Cloud Platform, they offer various services like computing and storage where customers pay only for what they use. Now the pros, flexibility for users, of course. This is attractive to customers who prefer paying for the actual usage, right? Then scalability. So revenue scales with customer usage. Of course, then you have a lower barrier to entry, more accessible for customers hesitant about large upfront costs, and who is not hesitant about large upfront costs. Then we have the cons, of course. So it's unpredictable, and fluctuations in usage can lead to variable income, and a lot of businesses and startups, they want to know how much they will be making this quarter. They don't want too many fluctuations, or they want it to go up but actually not go down. Then there is an overuse risk, right? If not priced correctly, high usage can strain your other resources without you adequately being compensated. Then of course there is an issue with customer retention, and to retain customers you need to keep on providing continuous value to keep your customers engaged through different means. Now, number 6 that we talked about earlier is the subscription and the membership model. Now, subscription means charging your customers upfront every month, every quarter, every year for them to utilize your services whenever they want. Membership is similar. However, this basically means that you are part of a group, and then you can have a paid plan. Often you will find a mix of memberships and subscription models. For example, Amazon's Audible offers audiobooks. You can buy books individually at varying prices, or you can become a member or a subscriber of Audible. So while Audible refers to itself as a membership, it actually functions like a subscription. A few more examples. Netflix, it provides streaming services with a monthly subscription fee. We all have Netflix subscriptions. And then of course we have Microsoft Office, and they offer productivity software on a subscription basis with the regular updates, cloud integration. You can be on a mobile phone. Now let's summarize into our pros and cons for a subscription or a membership model. Now, of course, as we talked about, you have a predictable revenue stream with this steady recurring income stream. Then you have customer loyalty. You tend to build a long customer relationship. Then of course you are collecting data, and continuous interaction provides more and valuable customer insights. And of course, the cons. Now, your churn rate could be high. You risk that customers canceling your subscriptions if you are not able to provide value, and if that happens in bulk, then you could be in serious trouble. Then you could have saturation issues because you just don't have Netflix. You have Disney, you have HBO, you have so many other companies, you have Fubo TV that are competing against each other. And then you have service quality pressures, and you need to be consistently delivering value to retain your subscribers. Now, last but not the least, number 7 are micropayments. And micropayments is a revenue model involving very small payments for impulse or addictive purposes. Now, this is for gamers. For example, in-game purchases are a common example. Farmville. So initially this was introduced on Facebook, and it is a notable example. Players could build their farms manually and make small purchases as they're going about their structuring. Another example is Fortnite. You actually play for free, then the game generates revenue through in-game purchases like skins or battle passes. Then we have Tinder, right? The dating application offers in-app purchases for features such as Tinder Boost or likes, super likes. Those are very lucrative. So what are the pros here? Of course, impulse buying, and who is not an impulse buyer, right? So with this model, you encourage small, frequent purchases. That basically means that it's low cost and people will end up using this model again and again. And at the end of the month, it will actually add up, and it could be a heftier amount than the person thought. So this is incremental revenue. Small purchases can accumulate to significant amounts. Now the counts. Of course, I mentioned that you could have a reasonable monthly income on a particular user. However, it may end up happening that you have a limited revenue per user. An average revenue per user may be lower than other models. Other aspect could be user fatigue, over reliance on microtransactions, can actually frustrate users and lead to churn and people actually not using your service. All right, that was very detailed, right? But each model requires careful consideration of these factors to determine its suitability for a particular business idea or target audience. So watch this video again and again if you want to have a better idea. And if you are looking for investors, I do have another video you can check out, how to find angel investors. I'm Dr. Mirkan. Thank you so much.